Hello, everyone, and welcome again to my podcast, Don't Get a Therapist Yet. Thank you so much for everyone who's subscribed to my YouTube channel. I really hope I can persuade you all to subscribe. It really helps me to develop high quality YouTube content and audio content. And so please subscribe. I hope today you find this podcast useful because it's very current. So if you have found yourself searching for terms such as Iran war latest news, Iran war live, United States versus Iran, Iran versus Israel, all explained, or what is happening in Iran today, and at the same time, noticing that your body feels tense, your sleep is worse, your mind is racing, and you can't seem to switch off. So this is the episode for you. So today I want to talk about why this war is causing so much anxiety, stress, and trauma, even for people who aren't actually in the war zone. And what I want to give you today is 12 practical, evidence-based strategies taken from my favorite therapists. As you know, if you follow me, I'm a therapist for 35 years and I'm trained in different techniques. And the ones I think work really well is cognitive behavior therapy, compassion focused therapy, ACT, which stands for acceptance and commitment therapy, EMDR, mindfulness, and dialectical behavioral therapy, or DBT for short. Now, this is never about telling you not to care. It's never about you becoming detached or cold. It's learning to balance how to stay informed without becoming terribly psychologically and emotionally overwhelmed. So if you notice you're feeling more anxious, more tearful, more irritable, more panicky, more watchful, or just emotionally exhausted, that does not mean you're weak. It means that you're human. That is the way our brain has been designed. So why is this war in particular causing so much anxiety, stress, and trauma? Of course, wars cause this. But one of the problems at the moment is the uncertainty. Anxiety feeds on what we don't know. When there is talk, which there has been a lot of, retaliation, escalation of the war, missile strikes, bombs, accumulation of problems, bombing more countries, here we go again, blocked shipping routes, fragile peace talks. If you don't listen to my peace talk, I'm going to bomb you even harder. How does that language make us feel? And our minds like closure, they like structure, and it doesn't give us closure. It keeps our mind asking, what happens next? Will this get worse? Will other countries get involved? Yes, they are. Are we safe? Am I safe? What's happening to my children? What's happening to my lifestyle? What's happening to my community? When is the bomb coming to me? What will happen to the economy? What will happen to house prices? What will happen? Can I actually afford to get to work? What will happen? Can I actually afford the petrol? What else can go wrong? So it can feel bigger and that you can feel totally out of control. And this is the problem. Our brains are made to hate open loops. Another reason is just constant exposure. Many people are not just hearing on one bulletin and moving on. They're seeing clips again and again and again, totally repeated, live streams, thumbnails, notifications, commentary, arguments online, highly emotional content over and over again because it sticks in our brain. We notice things like danger. Our brains are designed to notice danger, threat, so we become drawn to it again, over and over again. Hard, isn't it? A third reason that the body doesn't always distinguish well between direct danger and repeated vivid exposure to threat. That doesn't mean watching the news is the same as being in the war zone. Of course it isn't. But repeated exposure to content, to knowledge, to discussions, to debates, to speculation, and also threat-based imagery and the language can keep our nervous system activated because it's designed to focus on threat. In particular, some people, especially those who have a history of trauma, war coverage can trigger older, unresolved fear networks. So, reactions may be stronger in people who have lived through conflict, childhood trauma, sudden loss, panic, or long periods of feeling responsible for keeping other people safe. Sometimes the distress isn't just fear. It's also about feelings of grief, hearing all the terrible suffering of people dying, children dying. How much does that affect our emotions? We can feel outrage. One of the worst things I think we can feel is a sense of helplessness because we really can't do anything about this. And then we can feel guilty about not being able to do anything about it. Sometimes it's just the horror and that painful feeling of witnessing something suffering while not being able to stop it. And that's the key thing, isn't it? Children and families, we can absorb the emotional atmosphere around us. We can trigger each other off. If you've got parents who are constantly watching the news and constantly contacting people and having communication about the war zone, how terrible it is and how we're all going to suffer, we can't move, we can't do anything, children absorb that energy around them. And this is why it's important for your own well-being, but also for your family members and your friends, why calm, grounded adult responses are so important. What are these 12 strategies? So the first one is naming what is happening in your mind and body. So instead of saying, I'm losing it, try and say, I'm noticing I'm having an anxiety response. You're changing your language. Or my nervous system is off the wire. I'm overwhelmed. Once you actually say it with accuracy, you're less likely to believe it. Okay, so you might say, yes, I notice that my nervous system is activated, but I'm not overwhelmed. How to do this is you then move from I am unsafe to my body is acting as if I'm unsafe. That tiny little shift in language creates a breathing space. Ask yourself, what am I feeling emotionally? Notice what sensations are in my body. Notice the story that your mind is telling me, and that language is important because sometimes we believe the story rather than facts. We all do it. We hear it on the news all the time. People come up with different stories. It doesn't actually mean it's an interpretation of a situation, not exactly factual. And also notice how you are responding. By writing those things down and answering that can actually help you with clarification and get some more concrete, more noticing how your mind works rather than just an emotional response. Number 2, reduce doom scrolling without cutting yourself off from reality. So you don't need to plug in to breaking news all day long. Try to create a form of a news container. Actually, knowing about what's going on is understandable, it's wise. But if you notice you are compulsively checking again and again all day long, then that really is described as the safety behaviors, and safety behaviors can keep anxiety going. So, for example, set yourself a limit. Maybe just check the news twice a day. Consider the sources, perhaps 2 reliable sources that you think are very factual rather than speculative. Make sure that you don't engage in information about the war and now before you go to bed, because you'll probably dream about it and have nightmares. And then just pause and ask yourself a really important question. Is the information that I'm hearing helping me to stay informed or feeding my anxiety? And that's where you need to be very clear about the difference. There's a difference between being informed or actually being fed your anxiety. Number 3. So in CBT, there's a very practical question, which I find very, very helpful. Ask yourself, when you're worrying, is this a problem I can solve or is it not solvable? If it's solvable, you have a plan. Unsolvable worries need a different response. So it can really help to give your worries a structure so they don't dominate the whole day. So an example could be a solvable problem is to limit your access to social media. Another thing you can do is learn to speak calmly to your children. Even though you've heard something bad on the news, you can actually change and actually use that calm, soothing voice for your children so you're not activating them. An unsolvable worry will be, will this escalate into a wider war? And what you can do with this is say to yourself, I'm not going to worry about that now. I'm going to give myself some worry time. I'm going to go away, say 6 o'clock at night, 6 till 7. And if I have a worry, I'm going to give myself a good old worry about it. And then at 7 o'clock, I'm going to stop again. Okay. So you actually delay the worry and you still have a little bit of time for worrying because you still need it a little bit. And then you stop again. Okay. So that's quite a good method of doing it. Technique number 4. Ground yourself in the present moment. So what happens with anxiety? Your attention always goes to the what if, always goes to catastrophizing. What if this happens? What if that happens? And then you can hear, as we said before, it actually opens up the anxiety and your mind just goes wild, just thinking of all the worst case scenarios. So actually coming back to the present moment can really help you. One very simple grounding technique you can do is just sit on your sofa or a chair or something, and then in the moment, notice 5 things you can see. You look around for 5 things, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can feel or touch, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Now, if for some reason you can't taste something or you don't have any smell or whatever, that's absolutely fine. But the idea of grounding back to the here and now is a really, really good way of dealing with the anxiety and stress of all this war talk. Number 5, calm the body down through breathing. So when you're frightened, breathing often becomes more shallow or fast because we go into fight or flight and we decide to sort of run or attack. So what you need to do is to change to slow, gentle breathing. Just helps the body to calm and relax. Okay. Ideally, when you breathe in using the fullness of your lungs. Breathe in from the bottom of your lungs and just let your diaphragm, which is the bit in the middle of your lungs, out. Just let it relax. Ideally, breathe in through your nose if you can, because it stops you feeling dizzy, and then breathe out slowly and gently. And try to breathe out a little bit longer than when you breathe in. Very, very simple, just very slow, gentle breaths. Just try that and see if you notice a difference. Number 6, speak to yourself with compassion, not criticism. Many people become so self-critical when they're distressed. Self-criticism usually throws petrol on the fire. It makes you feel 10 times worse. It makes you feel rubbish, a rubbish person. You've got it all wrong. You're terrible. You failed again. Blah, blah, blah. How hard are we on ourselves? How much terrible criticisms and nastiness and judgments do we give ourselves for some tiny little thing that we've done wrong? It's terrible, isn't it? And I can fall into that loop myself. Even a therapist of 35 years, I can get really critical. Okay. I just am perhaps aware of it and maybe have some more techniques. Doesn't mean to say I don't stop getting critical of myself. So one simple technique is to think what you would say to a friend who is anxious and actually say to it in a very warm, encouraging voice. The tone of voice is really important in compassion. Okay, compassion is so good to help us to regulate our emotions. It's so good to help us to be kinder to ourselves and actually just get through the day. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all get things wrong. But if we're doing our best, that's all we can do. So some examples of some compassionate statements you can say to yourself. Yeah, I understand. This is affecting me. I am human. This is where I'm built. I'm built with a protective fight or flight system. Thanks. It's designed to keep me alive. I understand that. I understand that my body is responding. It's on high alert. It doesn't work if I try to bully myself into being calm. I have to learn to self-regulate. What I need right now is just a little bit of calmness. I need to chill. I need to relax a little bit. I need to perhaps write down some solvable worries, and that's okay. Number 7, notice the difference between thoughts and facts. Now, this seems a really obvious thing, but again, as I said before, we're very good at telling ourselves stories which actually aren't even true. They're made up in the heads, and I do it as well. I couldn't bore you to death about how many stories I make up in my head, which are just rubbish. Okay? So an anxious mind often talks in headlines. This is going to become more catastrophic. Nothing's safe. We're all in danger. Now, these are understandable thoughts because our minds have been activated, but they are still actually thoughts. Unless you are in the war zone, which is something different, these are the threat of war. Okay, so try saying to yourself, I'm noticing the thought that this is going to become catastrophic. This creates distance and helps you to step out of that absolute fire alarm going crazy around you, okay? So it's reminding you that there's a difference between how you think and what is a fact. And you can do that for lots and lots of different things. Really focus on the facts, write them down, be clear. Keep telling them to yourself again and again and again. And even if the fact changes a little bit, that's fine. Change the fact. It's absolutely fine. But differentiate between what's going on in your head and what's a fact. Number 8, focus on what is in your control. So when the whole world feels chaotic, ask, what can I do today that focuses on me? What's important to me? How am I living my life? What can I do today that help me to actually feel as though my life is meaningful and with purpose? This is called values-based action in acceptance and commitment therapy, and it is a therapy that I teach. It's a wonderful therapy and it can really help you. You may not be able to do a war negotiation, unfortunately, but you can do things today that can help you. You can focus on your children. Have a meaningful time with your children. Notice and really value any time you have your children and notice how important it is for them. Perhaps check in on a friend. Maybe you know a friend's sort of suffering from anxiety. And again, by trying to help that friend, sometimes you're helping yourself as well. Maybe if you feel you want to do more things to help, maybe there's a charity that you can denote to or spend time with, which actually makes you feel good, makes you feel as though you're getting a bit of control of your life as well. Um, and obviously, self-care is so important. The more you learn to self-regulate, the more you're going to be not tired, exhausted, or ill. So you can get on with your life, do a good job, whatever you're doing, care for your children, being a partner, whatever it is that you're doing, that your life is meaningful to you. Even if it's something really small. In the therapy, I laugh because so many clients tell me they actually like a good clean, you know. I don't get that myself. Maybe a little bit, maybe a little, but just give the house a good tidy up or a bit of a clean, or your flat or wherever you live. It can give you a little tiny sense of accomplishment that you actually feel better. Or maybe just going tending to the garden as well. That's another good thing. If you like to be outside with plants, nature, just have a little tidy up. Just go and cut a few things. Tiny little things, but they can really make you feel that sense of accomplishment. Number 9, how to use EMDR to improve your feelings of safety and containment. So you can actually use a couple of techniques from EMDR, safe place or a container exercise. So imagine a place that you feel is protective towards you and soothing. Okay. And go for the 5 senses. So say it's a holiday. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear? What do you feel? And maybe what you taste as well. And really use all your senses to really be there. Okay. Or if you have something distressing, imagine getting a container. You're going to have great fun creating this container in your mind. It could be a box of a lid. It can be like a big lock on the door, whatever it is. And put it on the shelf. So put whatever it is that you're feeling or suffering. Okay, I'm going to put it in the container and then put it away, lock it away until the time when you actually feel, okay, I do need to address this, and you come and lock it out. Okay. And you're not denying reality doing the container. You're just using the coping strategy to actually help you to feel more control. Number 10, regulate your intense emotions using DBT skills. Now, sometimes the problem with anxiety about war, you just feel overwhelmed. Your body feels overwhelmed. Your brain feels overwhelmed. Everything's overwhelmed. DBT is really good at providing very simple ideas when emotions run high. And I know they sound simple, but they do work. Okay. We're not here to pretend everything is fine. That's unrealistic. We have been triggered. The war is real. Okay. But if we can actually turn down some of the emotional intensity, just so that you're actually out the overwhelm, the fight or flight, and you're back in your more rational thoughts. Okay. So some good ice cold water on your face, give you a shock. Using the breathing technique again, we just talked about that before. Tense and release around your shoulders and your hands. Okay, that one. And you can breathe in and then breathe out. Just do some shoulder ones like that. Or you might laugh at that. Just tense your face up. So many muscles in your hair, in your head, your hair as well. Okay, just keep doing that. Tense and release. That can actually be good. Self-soothe your body. And you can do this by maybe putting a blanket on you, having a nice warm drink, soft music, or using some favorite scent that you have that you associate with calmness. Sometimes it's good to calm your body rather than your mind. And sometimes your mind becomes calmer if your body is calmer. It's another way of doing it. Strategy number 11, really focus on your sleep. This is so important. I have so many conversations with people who have problems sleep. Almost every person that I see has a problem with sleep. It is so common, and it's so sad that we can't sleep properly. Okay, so war-related content is particularly bad for sleep because it mixes threat, uncertainty, vivid imagery, and endless updating about how bad things are. Okay. So just set yourself some clear boundaries. Don't watch any war videos while you're in bed, or watch the news while you're in bed. So not scrolling your phone when you're in bed. Don't check your headlines if you wake up in the night. Write down all your worries before you go to bed. Remember that sort of solvable problem approach. By writing things down, the mind actually feels closure. It feels, okay, I've done something with it as well. It sounds such a simple technique, but I really want you to try it. So then what you write as well, say, don't listen to speculative news. Okay, these are the facts. Today, right now, I'm safe and I need to go on with my life, as an example. Again, nowadays on YouTube, podcasts, there's so much self-soothing designed to help you to sleep. You've got self-hypnotherapy, you've got podcasting, you've got mindfulness. Try to find one that really works for you. Ideally one that works for a long time. It doesn't have adverts in, because if you've got an advert, it'll wake you up, but you can just sort of lie there and listen to and just try to focus on it. We'll also add focus on relaxing yourself rather than trying to go to sleep. If you're trying to go to sleep, we're putting effort into it, and the effort creates more stress and anxiety, so it keeps you awake. You're just trying to relax. Try that. Point number 12, know when to seek professional help, and that would be somebody like me. Okay, so if you notice that your anxiety is particularly severe, say that you are having panic attacks, that you're feeling more traumatized, your sleep is worse, you're constantly being sort of, what's that all about? Okay, constantly feeling on edge. Or if it's triggering an original trauma as well, that's possible, then I do recommend therapy can really help. Okay. So cognitive behavior therapy is very good for anxiety or panic. EMDR is particularly good if you feel very traumatized, or as I said before, an old trauma is being activated. And, try and get help early rather than later, so you actually start to learn these skills as well. You can go through these skills in a therapy session and just learn to master them and get better at them. That will be one thing you can do. Okay, so if you are listening right now and you feel overwhelmed by the Iran war, by the uncertainty, by the suffering, by the headlines, by the fear of what on earth is going to happen next, I want to leave you with this. Just take a breath, slowly and deeply, in and then out. Just being aware of your feet. Notice the feet on your floor. Notice what you're sitting on. Notice a chair beneath you. Notice what's in the moment right now, just as you are. Your mind may be scanning for danger. Your body may be carrying too much. Your heart may be hurting. But you don't need to solve the whole world problems in this one moment. What you can do is create the life which is meaningful for you. Just take care of your nervous system. Just keep coming back again and again and again to the present, to focus on the things that are meaningful to you, to be kind to yourself and others. You need grounding rather than endless alarm. You can be informed rather than being consumed. You can care without collapsing. You can feel deeply about the concerns of the world without letting fear run you. Take good care of yourself. I hope you found those tips and techniques useful. Again, please, could you subscribe to my channel? It really helps me to develop more and more material and put more things in. Have a lovely day. All the best to you. Take good care. Keep on learning, keep on listening, but keep staying in the moment. All the best. Goodbye.